Hey, it's me, Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone respects me. I'm just kidding myself. Get it? Kidding myself. You're already banned. You should be getting some help. Committed, medicated, or just sitting in jail. Come on! Relax, guys. I like Shaylin. Give me an amen.
Max, stop!
Rumor has it Mr. Girl has a few abusive habits and I'm late for work cause I'm stuck in human traffic. Yeah, I play Smash Brothers, I play Smash Sisters, Smash Daughters and nieces and nephews, smash them to pieces. And I wear white bands and I drive one too. Come on, kid, I got some V-Bucks for you.
Ugh, you know that terrible feeling that you have when two of your absolute faves are fighting and you can't even pick a side? Well, I have the exact opposite experience about BXBullet versus Mr. Girl. Before we get into this video, please remember not to send anybody mentioned in this video any hate, harassment, bullying, disparaging comments, hateful, mean, rude, anything. It is not condoned, it is not cute, it is not quirky, and we shall not stand. Thank you. So let's quickly spend a second going through the character sheets of our two main players, BXBullet and Mr. Girl, to just see who are these fucking people. Alright, let me tell you. Mr. Girl, or Max Carson, was actually originally a YouTube gamer and he played stuff like Grand Theft Auto and Mortal Kombat and so on, and in his own words, his current videos are more challenging, non-partisan social commentary. So he streams on Twitch and he debates a lot of people and he basically has a lot of political ideas, some of which I've heard are worth considering and going through, but the topic in question is pretty much his stance on pedophilia. So when I'm talking about Mr. Girl and his quote-unquote views, arguments, it'll be around the nonce situation. Okay. Then of course, who can forget his glow up during the Cuties review?
This film does try to make you sexually aroused by 11-year-olds. I'll say it's not bad at it. It's not a total failure in that regard, at least for me. Yeah, as far as like sexy music videos go, it's not bad.
Anyway, he said some things, apparently according to him this is not satire, that would be relevant later. So he does actually hold these views and he does regularly try to platform discussions regarding these topics. And that's pretty much his stance, that's how he does. If you tune into his content, that's what you would experience. Also worth noting that this is not the first time or the only time that Mr. Girl has been banned. This is quite the frequent occurrence for him. On January 2021, his channel was terminated, but then 3 months later it was reinstated, and then in June 2021, the channel was terminated again because it violated YouTube's policy on sexual and nudity content. And then on June 24th, it was once again terminated, and this time it was his main YouTube account. And then it was reinstated once again. Our other character, BXBullet. What is there to say about this political Twitch streamer that she has not said about herself? Anyway, she's pro-gun, conservative e-girl, but she also has the OnlyFans thing and she does argue the whole misogyny, girl boss type of energy. So it's pretty difficult to place exactly who she is or what she stands for. But she will frequently get into some Twitter fights, so that's where you get most of the idea of what she thinks, but she's not really known for being truly consistent or coherent. And by that I don't mean that she changes her mind a lot, I mean that she doesn't make a lot of sense because she's not very smart. But you might recognize her from her viral oopsie.
Feel free to give me the tip and I'll give you a shot. I give you the jab, you give me a load of bits. Guys, you better get vaccinated, okay? And if you don't want to, I'm going to forcibly inject you with a blow dart, okay?
So this all started when BXBullet decided to once again speak for all single moms of Twitter when she saw a post that Mr. Girl made where he planned on holding an interview with somebody that suffers from POCD, which is just in summary a type of OCD where somebody's anxious that they might be a pedo but it's unconfirmed or not true. I don't know, we're not getting into that discussion. However, Mr. Girl did state that this was for educational purposes and the idea was to discuss the struggles of the POCD person and what that means in life. Right, okay. So this means our heroic anti-pedo Twitter warrior typed with all her might that she does not believe that such content should be allowed on Twitter. She also, of course, tagged Twitch to this call-out post. Take note, this will be important later. So, days after this tweet was posted, it was announced that Mr. Girl had been banned from Twitch and no reason was given, which is of course against their usual modus operandi where they actually notify people the cause of the ban and also what it means, how long, etc, etc. So in other words, Twitch didn't send him the usual email describing the nature of the ban, so the reason is up in the air. And Twitter investigators then quickly turned to look at what had happened, you know, the cause and effect and all this shit. And they needed to find out who needs to be cancelled with the quickness so that justice can be served in all the Twitter lands. What do you know? BXBullet had the most damning connection to the case. So Mr. Girl and BXBullet then started their Twitter duel.
What a coincidence. I laugh at you too every time I see your name and your stream title and I realize I live in your head. Meanwhile, I'm here in my giant house crying and wiping my tears with the boxers of the dudes you wish you could fuck. Sucks to suck, I guess. So Mr. Girl responds to this call-out post. Meanwhile, I'm here in my giant house crying and wiping my tears with the undies of the kids you wish you could fuck. Oh my god. How did she take this? I'm sorry you were fucked up enough in the head to view child sexual assault as a joke, and I sincerely hope you get the help you need. Mr. Girl then responds, I'm sorry you were fucked up enough in the head to view a joke as child sexual assault, and I sincerely hope you get the help you need. This logic makes no sense because I never accused you of assaulting a child. I just don't like your brand of humor, and I don't like your message, and I'm sure you're used to that, so keep saying your piece, and I'll keep saying mine. Welcome to the internet. You are arguing that my brand of humor will cause child sexual assault. If you're going to tell me to keep saying my piece, you should probably stop trying to deplatform me. She says, you think it's a joke, you think a joke is CSA, child sexual assault. It's not the same as the joke as what you said here. Where did I argue direct causation from joke? Where did I say you should be deplatformed? Have you seen any of my content? If so, you know my larger beef with Twitch has nothing to do with you. So here she's just fucking lying. I mean, she's just being completely retarded. Okay, her acting like she wasn't trying to get Mr. Girl deplatformed was obviously that's what she's trying to do. Retweet and hold Twitch accountable. What does she want Twitch to do? He said, I've been banned from Twitch. I haven't heard from them, but I assume it's because of the POCD interview. So he's gonna be basically streaming on YouTube and stuff like that, right? So BXBullet says, I reached out to Max and apologized that my tweet was misinterpreted. It genuinely was not meant to be a call to ban. It was a call to raise awareness on an otherwise unrelated matter. I don't believe this for a second. She then says, I also offered my support in filing an appeal if it turns out I played a role, which I doubt.
So, okay, after going through this argument, you can see that there is some type of a conclusion, and you would think, okay, so she's willing to compromise, she's willing to say that even though there was no harm meant, even though she believes that she was not the direct cause of this ban, she's willing to compromise, and, you know, let's resolve it. But the thing about BXBullet is that she's really fucking stupid. So she would strongly believe in all of her convictions, but she really struggles to explain and express it in any kind of coherent way, and she frequently ends up contradicting herself. Shame. So this means that when she was confronted with the crime of advocating for the deplatforming of Mr. Girl, she defended her actions and directly started fighting with basically everyone, specifically Augie RFC, Tipster, and Nicholas the Oreo. She tried to say that this was innocent and that she did not advocate for the ban and that she's actually pro-free speech and, anti-deplatforming. However, the elephant in the room was, of course, whether or not Mr. Girl himself is in fact actually a danger and should therefore be rightfully removed from the platform or any other platform, whatever. So other people were not necessarily in favor of BXBullet at this time, but they were rather anti Mr. Girl and agreed that he is indeed a menace and the menace should be, gotten rid of. So this led to Stardust, the main defender, being ratioed into all fucking affinity, and the people on the other side, majority, were actually technicals and lyrics, etc. So this gave BXBullet the confidence to absolutely revoke her entire apology and make a new Twitlonger.
Oh, we're not off to a good start. We have a link to a Twitlonger titled Regarding Mr. Girl, and it says deal with it, thread muted. Okay, this is about to be interesting. So let's take a look at this Twitlonger and let's see what we're dealing with here. I slept on it and woke up this morning with a fresh mind. Fuck Max Carson, stay banned.
Yeah, so at this moment there are actually pretty much 100 arguments going on simultaneously, and it really depends on who you hate most here. So there's the anti-Mr. Girl group, the anti-Stardust group, the anti-BXBullet group, the anti-Technicals group, the anti-Peter group, and the anti-Narking to Twitch group. And some of them mix with the others, but only to some extent, So it depends on who you want to sit with. But don't worry, we're not going to go through all the boring stuff, and allegiances are so Game of Thrones. So what we're only going to be doing is discussing the BXBullet versus the Mr. Girl topics and everything that relates to it. So this would have left us with a Schrodinger's bullet, right? Did she report to Twitch? Did she snitch to Twitch? Or did she not? People in this community do not take kindly to the idea of narking like that. I remember back when Keemstar tagged YouTube with H3H3, remember that? Yeah, and also Twitch does have a reputation for just banning people straight up with no clarification. Remember Dr. Disrespect? These platforms cannot be trusted, and we don't exactly know how reports work and if they do work via other forms of communication. So we have no idea as concrete proof whether or not BXBullet did have an influence. We have no idea. There could be a circumstantial reason why he got banned, but it also might as well be her. I don't trust her either way, but I also can't say for sure that she had a hand in this. But this entire event could have been left just at that. But fortunately for us, a bunch of questions arose, such as, did this tweet from BXBullet directly cause the ban, since Twitch provided no clarification and she herself said that she did not intend for this consequence and would insist in reversing it if it was her doing? Is Mr. Girl a danger to the Twitch platform as her original tweet suggested? In other words, if she did get him banned, but it was justified, as in it caused an overall net positive, should we be giving her a pass? Is this a debate about free speech, or is this a debate about the conditions of deplatforming? Is there a world in which BXBullet stops being a dumb fuck? Is there a world in which Mr. Girl stops being cool with the idea of trying to get horny by minors? Why is Bowblax the only person asking the right questions here? Alright, so let's tackle BXBullet's position first. So after this incident, she did end up fighting with basically everybody, but she definitely went on a debate with Augie RFC, and she Twitter fought with Tipster, and then she also released her own response video stating the following quote-unquote fact. Her position is that Twitch doesn't care what she tweets. That is, I think, actually kind of fair, but we also don't know how Twitch works. But saying that simply tweeting at Twitch will get them to ban somebody, I mean, that is a bit of a stretch. Just realistically speaking, we don't actually know that it works that way, and, innocent until proven guilty, that's a choice. We could opt in or opt out of that choice. And then she also states very clearly and in no uncertain terms that she's pro-free speech and she never aimed to deplatform him.
Now, I already explained how I am not pro-deplatforming and how I do not believe that I got Mr. Girl banned. But regardless, freedom of speech does not apply if you violate a user agreement that you made with the Twitch platform, which Mr. Girl must have done somehow if he got banned.
However, then she goes on to say that he is in fact a danger and that he should not be allowed to children and he is just a high-key menace. Therefore, the idea of him getting banned is in fact justified. So she literally did a 180. She's basically saying, I want him banned, but I also don't want to stand for the case of being pro-deplatforming.
Let's dumb that down for the people who still don't understand. Your free speech does not protect you from the consequences of the things you say. If you, a citizen of America presumably, say some dumb, irresponsible shit, other citizens of America have the right to speak out against you.
So I'm going to say that I'm pro-free speech. I'm going to say I'm against deplatforming somebody, but I definitely do not think he should be on Twitch, and I 100% tagged them. And she does also go on to say that the reason why she tagged was to, quote, raise awareness, because that is her whole Twitter persona. That's what she does. And you know what, fuck it, it could be her persona. Like, we literally cannot counter that by saying, no, it's not. We don't know. However, what is very clear right now is that she is happy about this outcome and she is promoting it and she will absolutely do this again in the future. Nothing learned here. Mr. Girl instead got under fire because the only way that people could possibly agree with BXBullet, fucking BXBullet, is if she's right. In other words, that he is the exception. By that I mean that he's so much so of a menace that he is normalizing pedophilia, that he might even be a predator himself, or some kind of other threat. In other words, her reasons to be worried is justified and fair. So Mr. Girl did actually call into Augie RFC's show and he did have a debate with Technicals and Bowblax, or Bowblax was rather questioning him and going along with his thought experiments and asking him some questions in turn to get some clarification on what the situation was.
Do you think you're a pedo? Do you think you're a hebephile? Do you think you're like a no-map? Or do you just think you're regular? Like, I'm just curious from your perspective.
I think I'm I don't really like labels.
You don't like labels.
But if you were to give yourself like a like, which one do you think you align with the most? I'm just curious.
You're about brutal honesty, right? What's the label that you'd fit with?
So what we could deduce from Mr. Girl is that he's a bisexual person who does not like labels, and he believes that the majority of mid-20-year-olds are attracted to 16-year-olds.
A pedophile!
Now this is some vile shit. Oh god, good grief. Ugh, I did not know. This is not... Ugh. Okay, so
if I told you we're gonna play a game, and the game is a 12-year-old's gonna twerk on your lap for 5 minutes. The hottest 12-year-old you've ever seen, by the way.
Okay.
Hottest? Well, I don't.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Hold on, just let me finish. Let me finish.
Shit.
There's gonna be a shotgun aimed at your head, though.
Okay.
And if you get a boner in those 5 minutes, it's gonna blow your brains out.
I would survive.
But if you make it 5 minutes, you get $1 million.
So I think if somebody was concerned that there was circumstantial reasons to be worried that Mr. Girl might in fact be a predator, then they might have some valid reasons to believe it. It keeps happening, it keeps being more severe, and then he says that it's not satire. Now, a part of what I've seen regarding the debate around Mr. Girl is the idea that he himself is just joking. However, he himself keeps saying that this is not satire. He said the Cuties review is not satire. So in other words, do we believe him or is this just a joke? And if it is true, what does this change about the situation? Does that mean the ban is now okay? Does it mean that, free speech is allowed up until the point that it infringes on other people's right to be safe? does it mean that there is a case to be made for that? And the idea that he himself is avoiding any kind of label that could possibly lead to condemnation, or any type of label that would give somebody like BXBullet some ammunition against him, kind of speaks volumes, no? So this leads us to the nonce metaverse, the multiple debates happening simultaneously, which means that it's so easy to distract by throwing in different kinds of questions that interfere with the main debate at hand. But there's not just one main debate, there are multiple. Let me rephrase that in fucking English. Okay, so the question of whether or not BXBullet fucking sucks is the question of whether or not she's the reason why somebody got deplatformed and actually snitched to Twitch and therefore caused a ban, right? Is she responsible for that? Is she in fact a pro deplatforming and just parading around screaming free speech when it suits her and her fucking guns? Over criticize or is oversensitive to Mr. Girl's comedy because what he is doing is in fact wholeheartedly comedy. By being overly sensitive, she acted like a Karen and got him banned. That's the one argument. The other argument is BXBullet the only one that's opened her third fucking eye, that has meditated long and hard enough, that speaks to the fucking gods and has seen the truth, which is that Mr. Girl is indeed actually not joking. He's being very serious. All the red flags are there and she's the only one calling it out, and we are missing all these signs because we are willfully ignorant. We've all heard the catchy music video, we've all seen the cuties review, and we know that he's the pedo guy. We know, right? So the signs are there. So we either have to absolutely decide that this is a joke, even though he has not confirmed that, or we have to decide that he's not a menace or a predator, and he's not confirmed that. Or we have to decide that yes, all these things are maybe true, but we like him because he's charming, so we will give him a pass. Those are two different debates happening simultaneously. So this is how we get to the bottom of it all. We have to find out one specific thing and one specific thing alone. And that is whether or not Mr. Girl is in fact a pedophile or something pedo adjacent, something like a no map, something that has an actual definition, a term to which we can ascribe attributes that are either making Twitch safer or less safe when having people of that category onto it. And the reason why is because if it turns out that he is in no way, shape or form a pedo, every single thing that he's said and done is either satire or a joke, if that is the case, then we can conclusively say that BXBullet is a Karen and that she probably snitched and made something a lot worse than could have been, and maybe has been the direct cause of him being banned. But if it turns out that yes, he is indeed all of the above, then she was fair and correct, and then we are giving her too much of a hard time, because then she's a case of a broken clock being correct twice a day, no? Okay, so therefore, the only fucking question that matters, the only person smart enough to understand what is really happening here, getting to the bottom of it, is our motherfucking Bowblax.
You hold the opinion.
That's wait, technical. That's why I'm asking, like,
okay,
what you consider yourself, because I don't want to like mislabel you, and I have a pretty good idea of like what you stand for based on everything you've said. So I'm curious, like what I think, but based on what I've seen, I think no map is the most apt description. But I'm wondering if like you agree with it, because I don't want to like mislabel you.
No,
or
I don't
like
agree.
That.
No, I don't agree with that.
But you did say you were attracted to the minors and cuties, right? Like sexually aroused? That's what you said in the review. And then you said the review is not satire.
I did say those things.
So that means you would be attracted to a minor attracted person, and then you're not offending, so no.
I mean, you think if a 12-year-old twerks on your lap and you get a boner, then you're a pedophile?
You see, unironically, Bowblax's fucking based schizo tweeting is the most relevant part to this entire discussion, because it would be a whole different discussion of whether or not no maps or pedos or whatever should be allowed on Twitch versus the question, should Mr. Girl be allowed on Twitch? Because then it is directly targeting a specific individual of which we cannot say yes or no. But if we had an overarching rule, then we can apply it to TOS, and then we can call other BXBullet dramatic Karen, or we could say, yeet, be gone, vile sir. That's important. That's important. So, actually, in this specific circumstance, knowing what he is for the benefit of his own channel if he believes that he is in fact not a danger to children. Now, of course, any and everybody will possibly speculate on what we know. Based off all the evidence, everybody could, possibly speculate on whether or not Mr. Girl is this or that. And they can also speculate just as much whether or not BXBullet is the reason that he got banned. However, both of these equally rely on circumstantial evidence and your own bias. So what I'm saying is, if you believe that one caused the other one, then there's just as much chance as the opposite doing the same. Get what I'm saying? Okay. So we're gonna hold them equal. I personally say don't like either one of them and you will be fine. You will be fine. It won't get messy for you. This is just then interesting. But I mean, yeah, fuck shit. I don't know. This is all fucked up. I don't like anybody. I don't like any of this. This is messy. This is terrible. This is disgusting. And I'm just a thought with an opinion, and we live in a fucking society. Pila. It's now ballsy to dodge a controversial label despite it being accurate to how he feels about seeing sexualized 12-year-olds in the Cuties movie. What the fuck? Also, I'm apparently sus for losing attraction for 18-year-olds as I approach 25. Am I living in opposite land? Also, for context, I think Mr. Girl is no map, not pedo or map. The Reddit comment is misquoting me. No map stands for non-offending minor attracted person. He was attracted to minors and cuties, so that label fits. If someone can show me otherwise, I will correct. I don't want to slander. I don't think Mr. Girl is a bad or evil person. I don't think he would do anything to harm a child, but he did admit to being aroused by them. So that would make him a minor attracted person, a non-offending one to be specific. The non-offending is an important detail.